Good evening, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to TCB Studios, and welcome to a very special edition, the PMA sessions of Burn It Down. My name is Tom Cheshire. I feel like we haven't seen each other in a bit. I'm super excited about this episode tonight. We were supposed to have it last week, but we had some technical glitches. I say we jump right in. I say we dive right in and bring on my guest, who is my partner in crime on the show, the badass woman behind the scenes, the octopus, and the goat, the greatest of all time, Miss whoop, 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 Renee Jaworski.
Whoop, whoop, whoop,
Bucket of fish, bucket of fish, bucket of fish. You know,
Bucket of fish.
it's such a cool thing. I want to give a shout out to Sandy D. Well, I just want to give a shout out to everyone on this team at CCTV. People who started, people who are doing shows, people who are growing and becoming these beautiful stars, people who started doing something and then walked away for a minute. We're all family. So John Phipps, I loved watching you and Rory and the show that you just did regarding this Jack Black episode. Those two gentlemen have such wonderful magic together.
Manny and Rory, they know everything. They're walking
Yes.
encyclopedias.
Well, I'm this insecure guy, but I'm gonna, after the show, gonna friend request Manny. He's wonderful, absolutely beautiful man. Jamie Bennett again, Rory. Let's see, all these other just wonderful shows. I said Sandy D. I'm forgetting some people. Diane, and then our brother and sister stations, Jake and everyone at Socially Distanced Fests, Gregory Gannon, Ro Evans, Julio Morales. What we're here to tell you tonight, me and my sister from another mister, Renee Jaworski, is you're our brothers and our sisters, and this is our community and our camaraderie and our brotherhood and sisterhood. And
Absolutely.
we wouldn't be where we are here tonight without you guys. So we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It's been a wild ride lately. I feel like you and I haven't seen each other in forever. So thank you. I figured we spent a few minutes catching up like old friends. We're a very cool hit version of The View right now.
Yeah.
And then what we want to do is dive in to something that we've been talking about. So again, let's see. I want to say shout out to my friend Rick Ammerman, who's given me some hints and ideas regarding this show. Certainly our brother Dan Falkenthal. I got to see my friend Amanda Blackman this weekend. I was talking with her about that. Shout out to that. I love this community and this family. And then when we get to see each other in person, we thrive off each other with these ideas. Yeah. So you and I have been flirting with this thing for a minute, and it's pretty simple. Anxiety, depression, straight up reality and sadness and everyday life catches up with you like a mother effer. And we're here to tell everyone you are not alone. And it's more like we want to remind each other that's why we're in this game. If we want to kill it and succeed in life, no one, even the greats, no one has done it on their own. They've had some help, and they probably were smart enough to realize where they were weak and went to someone for help.
Yeah. You need to be able to have the community. You know, one of the guys from the CDC came out a few weeks ago and he said that isolation and loneliness is medically killing Americans. And it's not just that people are not physically around other people, or maybe they have like one relative or whatever, but that circle of friends and community and family is supposed to be quite large in order for people to medically and emotionally and mentally be sound. Right. That's why, you know, in the blue zones, which are the places on earth where people live the longest, they tend to meet new people a lot. They have a large extended family. Wow. They're hugging each other. They're very physical. And COVID really capitalized on something that was already excruciating in
Right.
America, which was that Americans are not connecting. They might have like one person that they talk to or one person that they
Right.
live with or see. That is not adequate for a human. Humans are group animals. We need to be together. We need to support each
Yeah.
other, lean on each other. And let's face it, Tom, 2023 and 2022 were pretty fucked up. There were
Yeah.
some,
We as humans, we got ripped off. Yes.
yeah. I mean, it's tough, and I know a lot of people in our community are really suffering right now. And you and I are similar in that we don't always ask for help. I always think I can do it
No,
on my own.
and by the way, I'm the first to admit it, and I'm getting better at it. It's like
Yeah,
I'm one of these brothers who I give pretty good advice. I just don't take my own advice,
yeah, yeah.
which leads me to think even more because as we're talking, and this is gonna go down as one of my favorite episodes. I'm already having so much fun. And 20 minutes ago,
Me
by the
too.
way, I was exhausted, and now I'm like I could probably lift up.
Energized, right?
Now I can lift up an 18-wheeler. I feel so good. Will you do that for me? You just threw some endorphins my way. So shout out to our brother Lars Nagel, who's so important to me. I loved watching Rory and Bob Ross speak the other night. I mentioned Phipps. I love looking after my little brother Phipps. Daniel Gay, who has become such an instrumental
Yeah, I love
human and artist in my life. He had a scare lately, with his health, and
yeah,
we were
love to
chatting.
Daniel Gay, by the way. Love to Daniel
Shout
Gay.
out to Daniel. Shout out to Julio Morales because I know he's been having health problems.
Yep.
Our loved ones, our
Love you,
brothers and sisters.
Julio.
Yes, but Daniel and I were texting, and he's so cool, by the way. And he goes, yo, man, you too, buddy. You need to chill. Like, because he's come and stayed with me, and he's seen the way I operate, and he's like, I don't know how you do what you do sometimes on 2 hours sleep, Tom. That's going to catch up to you,
Yeah.
And he literally is like, yo, go outside and smell some trees. It's good for you. And now that's all we do is sex each other back and forth. Go outside and smell some trees. It's good for you. And if you're a reader and if you're a fan of facts and science and life, and you care about you and health and life and nature, and you're open to new things, I mean, it's been proven that seeing the water, hearing the water, feeling the water, hearing the noise of the ocean, or putting your hands or your feet in it, you're going to be so much more like Zen-like, or in a
Yeah.
better,
Yeah.
peaceful place. And
No,
if that's good for your brain, it's got to be good for your heart. It's got to be good for everything else.
you have to be able to do that. And here's the thing about human rights. We like to talk about human rights, but we don't want to like to talk about humans as holistic creatures. We need
Right.
to be outside. We need sunlight. We need nutritious food. We need a large and growing circle of friends and family that we depend
Yeah.
on. We need financial assistance. We need mental health assistance when we can get
Yeah.
it. We need medical health, dental health. We need
All of that.
creativity. We need to be able to be safe being who we are. There's a reason why a lot of people in Europe, really do flourish because they're very in tune with their bodies. They don't have all this shame about humanity. Americans really still have a lot of shame about just being human, having emotions.
Yes.
I saw Ed Sheeran recently on Howard Stern, and Ed Sheeran was talking about how he had lost his best friend to a drug overdose, and and Howard Stern was kind of just doing this thing where he was like, how do you get through that, and how do you?
He's such a good interviewer. Yes.
He's like the best, right? And Ed Sheeran said,
masterclass. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So good. And Ed Sheeran said, I don't want to get over it. I want to remember it. He said, I think it's disrespectful when people try to just, not talk about someone after they're gone. Or he said, I want to feel all of my emotions, and my emotions are valid and they're human, and I'm entitled to my emotions. And he really stuck up for himself. And I felt like that is kind of a European attitude, but I also like that he said that because so many of us are ashamed of our emotions. We hide our emotions. Why? If something bad happened, you're supposed to be upset. If you're dissociating all the time, that's not healthy. That just sits in your bones and makes you, sick, really.
Yes. Where is he from? Is he from England? From the UK?
Ireland.
I don't know much. Wales, the UK, Wales, England, or Ireland.
Wales.
I don't know much. I don't know much about him. I don't
I
know much
think
about him, but he seems like a great guy.
he's from the United Kingdom or Ireland, and
From
I'm
what I
blanking on
understand, he came to the States and he was homeless. As one of like the lawyer that we worked with a long time ago worked with him, and he was homeless. And Jamie Foxx let him live on his couch and basically made his career. Supposedly, it's wild, you
Wow,
know.
that's incredible.
There's so many things, and I know the way you and I are. We have so much fun, and we just our brains. We go. I have 5 things I want to mention right now, and so
Me
this
too.
is insane. So let me. First things first is I've been dealing with an insane loss, and I had to go to the final funeral for my friend Jacob Rupert, who he fought the good fight for the past 2 years with pancreatic cancer, and I believe I think it's like a 4% survival rate. And he really was. I've mentioned his name on the show a few times. I've played some charities because he clearly wasn't able to work, and we tried to, just be there for him as much as he could. And he was such a beautiful, badass example of a human because of the way he handled it. And I like, if I get sick, I'm probably going to call you up and say, hey, I just took out a $500,000 loan from the bank. You want to go to Hawaii? And we're going to get crazy. Like he fought this fight and was just, he was a comedian as well. And so he would get online and do Facebook stories, be like, wish me luck. I'm going to get new blood today. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, FML, man. Like, I wish I could have a fraction of this man's bravery. And yesterday I got to hug a bunch of beautiful people and talk about him. And we were like, and I think I even mentioned it late last night with a couple of glasses of wine in me. Someone was like, how you doing? And I go, I'm doing great. And then I go, oh my goodness, I feel so horrible. I shouldn't have said that at a funeral. And my buddy Casey Williamson says, no, that's where you're wrong, dude. Jacob wants to hear that you do
Of
great.
course, yeah.
And it was a beauty, and I heard all the way to the end. Like like the day before he passed, they said they had him high as a giraffe on drugs. He wasn't in any pain, which is beautiful, but he still came in and out of it with this brilliance. And so like his dad said at one point, he's like a half asleep, asleep for a couple of hours. His dad's like, I'm gonna go make you a smoothie. And then he wakes up, he goes, don't fuck it up. That's amazing. So he makes me a smoothie.
I love that.
It's amazing, and then like and then I think the next day, like he just was fearless into the end. From what I understand, he really at one point just like, I don't even have the strength to keep my eyes open. I'm out. And
right.
Tearful, but also inspirational. And we hugged each other, and then even when they were doing the eulogy, my brother Jim Stacy did a wonderful job with that, talking and stuff. And then the power went out in the Star Bar as they were doing it. And we go, he's up there effing with you dudes. Like the power went out for a second, and then they went outside and they shot some of his ashes out of a cannon. And it was really, well, I even said, I was telling Lars this, I believe this morning we were chatting, and I was like, even though I'm not religious, I love the poetry and the prose, and I love the words in the Bible, and I use them a lot in my own song lyrics. And I believe it was the Apostle Paul, but I could be wrong. But it's one of the big guys in the Bible. It said, your day of death, your death day, is 100 times more important than your day of birth, because your day of birth, you haven't earned or shown who you are yet. But your day of death in 80 years or 100 years or 60 years, or unfortunately in Jacob's life, I think it was 44 years, you built up this history and this story, and you show people that you're a man or a woman with really good ethics and morals, and you're a moral person. And that's when they could say, yo, yeah, when you were born, we didn't know you, but we got to know you, and you're beautiful, and we salute you. And it's really wonderful. And that's why I love that we're doing this. I'm looking forward to when we can do one with Dan, because I'm in a good place. But even when I'm in a good place, I have my, ups and downs and all arounds. I have my highs and my lows.
Yeah.
This week I feel great. Things are going good in the personal life. I had a wonderful time at a family reunion this weekend. My mom and dad are doing pretty good. And then this Thursday, beep, beep, I get to hang out with this awesome guy, Rod Lindsay, CJ Peter, shout out, and Pan Oria, one of our big sister stars. Oh my goodness. And also I'm hanging out with Ray. I'm hanging out with you right now. So
it's a beautiful thing. And I like how I wanted you to tell that story. So I'm so glad that you did, because you also posted it online about, I'm feeling awesome at the funeral. And then you said, oh, I shouldn't say that. And then it's like, wait a minute, this is the thing. If somebody has lived a full life, they have earned that that respectful death, then it's our chance to carry it forward. And if we just like moping around all the time. So when I say like embrace the grief, like a lot of cultures do forced mourning periods for like 40 days because we want to honor the person. But at a certain point, you're honoring the person by doing positive things, right?
Right. Well, that's the thing too. And it's like, how about saying, yo, let's do that weird thing that we said we were going to do with him. We said we were going to go to a gathering of the Juggalos. Let's go to one.
Let's go do it.
You know what I mean?
Honor him.
Because and we know this, and it's wild in life because the most obvious things are obvious for reasons, but we still, because we're idiots or stubborn, we refuse to like notice, like, this is the elephant in the room, or this is the reality, whatever. And it's like, no, we're probably never going to get over it. Okay. So have it get over with style and do it and do something beautiful for that person. Because so what I mean by that is like cliches or sayings for a reason. Rome wasn't built in a day. We've heard that for 10,000 years, so it's like when they say death is hardest on the living, damn right it is. So let's do something great with it,
Yeah, and I love how you say it's not getting over it. It's not about getting over it. It's always going to be a tragedy. We're always going to feel that dearth and that loss and that void, but it's about doing something positive with it. So you're still spending the same amount of energy on that loved one. You're not forgetting the loved one. You're not, what you're doing is you're using all of that energy that could be a negative thing or cause you to isolate. And you're saying, no, I want the person to keep living through me. And now it's incumbent on me to carry that torch forward because we all are going to die someday. We know that. But it's about how you live your life, how you die, and then how you pass that torch along. We're all going to do that. It's like candles, you're just helping people light candles.
Yes, and that's so wonderful, and that's a wonderful segue to kind of talk about. And by the way, I seriously, on a scale of 1 to 10, I feel like a 13 right now. Renee, I love you and thank you. I love our brotherhood and sisterhood and friendship. And there's only one way to describe it. It's badass and it's choosing awesome, and it's the best, and which is a great segue because. Again, shout out to Dan Falkenthal for such a young man. He's another guy like Lars and Daniel Gay had a really just big impact on my life. And Daniel was really super stoked about this. I hope he's watching. Well, we're going to tag the hell out of him, so I hope he's forced to watch it.
Yes, watch it.
He was very, very instrumental on this idea of us doing these special sessions. And then he hit me up because he's a human and a man who knows when he's good. And he goes, Tom, I love this so much, but I'm not ready right now mentally to be on the show with you and Renee. Maybe can I help out from the background, behind the scenes, and then hopefully down the road in a month or so, maybe I could. And I go, enough said, brother. I'm never going to try to put you in this thing. But I grew up as a new wave and a punk rock kid in Queens, New York, which means at 15 years old, I was taking the E train to Washington Square Park and buying nickel bags of weed. And I had eyeliner and a shaved head and a mohawk and bleached hair. Things pierced, and it's so funny because now I just feel like a cool old man, and you did as well. This is where I'm getting with this, and I know you played in punk bands, so it's funny because I heard about the band first and then later read it. Okay, so but I'm going to explain this to our viewers. Napoleon Hill, who probably is known as the world's greatest motivational speaker, and he talked about like the Rockefeller family and just wonderful stories of success in America. I encourage everyone to buy the book. It's called Think and Grow Rich. I've read the book 3 times in my life, and now since I'm talking about it tonight, I'll probably go back. I bought that as Christmas gifts for so many people in the world, probably 50 books. Just send people because it's encouraging and it's good old school motivational speaking. As a matter of fact, Google tonight great Napoleon Hill quotes, and that alone, it's like thoughts are just things. You got this. I mean, he was a punk and didn't know it. And he said, every time you look at, we shouldn't celebrate people's successes. We should celebrate their 50 failures before the successes. Just wonderful. But he talked about getting inside your brain and this PMA, which we talk about in the name of the show today as the PMA session. And it means positive mental attitude. I learned about it because I, even though I mostly study Buddhist beliefs, I'm a fan of pretty much I'm a fan of all the cool small religions. So I follow some Rastafari as well. And I became a big fan of this Rastafarian band called Bad Brains out of Washington, D.C. that moved to New York City. And they were a hardcore band. They played hardcore punk, and then they played a slow reggae song, and you think Bob Marley's on stage. And they got their hands on that book, and they said, yo, you got this. And they just said, you got to have that PMA, that positive mental attitude. And that's where I'm coming at you. That's where Renee's coming at you, Dan Falkenthal, and everyone. And mostly everyone in our group already has it, even if they don't know that book or that band. It's just about, well, it's like me and Darren Sanders thing, choosing awesome. Because if you want to find faults in me, guys, I guarantee in 5 minutes you can find some faults. If you want to find some good things, hopefully in 2 or 3 minutes you can find some good things.
Yeah.
You're gonna find faults in every day of this life and in this world. But I'm going to choose that the glass is always half full, and I'm going to keep that PMA. I'm going to have that PMA. I'm going to keep that positive mental attitude, and I'm not going to let any of this crap, this life that unfortunately we're going to have to deal with forever, bring me down. You know what I'm saying?
Amen. We have to do that. I mean, Jesus said that if you have faith, you will move mountains. You will literally move mountains, right? So, I mean, you know, and then I know, I like it in your song, you say, kid, you'll move mountains, right? But you have to, wherever your mind is, your actions will follow. So that's why it's so important, because whatever you focus on is going to continue to materialize and augment right in front of your eyes. So if you're sitting around thinking about all the things that could go wrong, about all the things that you don't like, you're missing out on all the things that could go right. What if things go right? Are you prepared if things go right? I always ask people that, because they'll say, well, I got to make sure that I'm prepared when things go wrong. Like, are you prepared for them to go right?
Let me tell you something, sister. You have just unleashed, Pandora's box and this side of my brain, because I can go wild for an hour right now.
I want to go wild on that for like 17 hours.
This is the thing with all of us. And I got news for all of you. And I know I'm 1,000% right. You may disagree with me, but I know I'm right. And you're just scared to admit that you're wrong. Most of us are actually scared of the success. We don't want success. But we're scared to do these things. Because let me tell you, I have had a bit of success, and right now I feel like my most successful because I'm doing things on my own terms, and I absolutely love it. And I learned a while ago, like that's a toxicity, anything that's not good, that's like a cancer, that's a negative zone. Eventually, you're out the door, and it's like, some of the good things that have happened to me in the past 2 years or 3 years, if they would happen 10 years ago, I probably would have pushed it away, or I might even have self-sabotaged it without knowing it because of my fears. I mean, I Western Motel, I have the song that's kind of a joke, but it's called What Time Is Check-In, and I basically talk about going and checking into the Western Motel. But I have this line that I go, and fear is a thief and it steals from me. And it's just like, we're just like, we let this fear just steal and take us, and it takes us on this ride, and it's a thief. It's a thief because it'll take you out in the middle of the night, and it could make you make some of the worst decisions. You gotta, and Napoleon Hill talks about this in Think and Grow Rich. It's like, it's easy to say you want something, but I mean, you gotta like literally make it your whole life. I was just watching 2 minutes.
You have to go all in. That's what people don't get. You have to focus and go all in order to actually have that success.
Yeah. I was just chatting with my assistant in the background, Denise. She sends her love. I was watching. Because even now, like right now, I could lift up a MARTA bus. That's the Atlanta bus system. I feel that strong right now. But 30 minutes ago, no way, baby. I was like, but I was watching because we all need to be inspired. So it's like before you play a game, you do your stretches, you do some push-ups. Well, what did I do? So I put on a couple of quick Howard Stern interviews, and he's interviewing Jerry Seinfeld, and Jerry Seinfeld says, every waking moment of the day, since I'm 21 years old to now, I'm writing, I'm working. I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, I'm driving with my wife and my kids, and I see a sticker in a minivan, and I pull over and I drive her crazy, and we're late to we're supposed to go, and I'm writing a joke about it. And Howard Stern goes, that sounds like torture. He goes, it is. He goes, it completely is. He goes, I'm absolutely insane. He goes, every waking minute of the day, I'm working and I'm writing, and Howard Stern goes, that sounds like torture. He goes, life is torture. He goes, life is finding something that tortures you that you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
That you're cool, you're good with that torture. Mm-hmm. And clearly I've chosen some of my torture, which is writing songs, performing, and then that goes to hopefully performing and helping people with charity. I mean, this weekend I said I was going to stop playing, and then I agreed to do a few shows like in town to try to help people, because that's part of it. And that's the thing. It's this thing. But also, it's the torture that keeps us alive.
That's right, because I always tell people this is like choose your poison, choose your torture, because guess what? The restlessness of not
Yes.
going for your dreams is going to be worse torture than you
Right.
going for your dreams and really doing that diligence and that hard
Right.
work. I heard somebody say the other day, if you make a list of all the times that you exited something, you would find out it was always when you were on the rise to something beautiful, the
Totally.
best relationship you were ever going to have, the
Yes.
best job you were ever going to have. We are more afraid of our greatness than we are of any failure. We are terrified to actually embrace
100%.
who we're supposed to be. I have someone in my life right now that I love more than I even knew I could love. And every single time they have ever gotten anything good,
Sabotage.
they get devastated, they act out, they do everything to trash it because they don't love
Oh my
themselves.
goodness.
They don't love
Yes.
themselves. So
And by the
self-sabotage
way,
is a love,
yeah.
it's a self-love issue.
Right. And by the way, everyone listening, I hope we got some people listening because I'm
Oh, we
loving this
do. We
episode.
got a whole packed, we got a packed audience.
Well, chime in, everybody. When I'm speaking for me and Ray right here, we're speaking from experience because when I left my family reunion on Saturday, I posted a picture of my mom and me as well, and I was anxietal for 24 hours just before we went to see her. Why? Well, because listen, I could say my mom gets on my nerves. You're not allowed to say that, Renee, but I'm allowed. Like, you know what I mean? And
Yep.
I love it to death, but you drive, these things that drive you crazy, life, But then I get back and I'm like, oh man, listen, and my buddy Mike was like, yo, I got news for you. That party wasn't for you. That party was for her. Give her those 4 hours, man. And I was like, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And cherish these times now because they're friends of mine, like my brother Lars, who just lost his mother. And it's like, yes,
Yeah.
it's just gorgeous. It's just gorgeous, and it's gorgeous, and it's beautiful, and it's funny, and it's sad, and it's annoying. It's all the above, and take it and run with it, and write a song about it. And when I finished that little write-up thing that I wrote about my friend again, Jacob
Yeah, that
Rupert,
was
beautiful man.
beautiful.
I said, I'm going to go write a song about unicorns and potato chips. The reason behind that is Jim, as he was giving the eulogy, he basically said, he goes, I'll never get this vision and even the voices out of my head. Is Jacob sitting on the couch with my little daughter, T, and just hearing them having the greatest conversation of how cool unicorns and potato chips are and how important they are in the world. And I'm like, yes. And I started bawling. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. Because it's those little things that are become the really big things.
Yeah, no, the little things do. And I see a lot of people, and like you said, people should weigh in. People are weighing in and vibing about how they don't want to embrace greatness and they are scared of success and how they sabotage everything. Like, what can they do?
Right.
My advice about what they can do is what you just said right there about little things become big things. Take something that you can be confident about in a little way and also have the vision, because your actions are going to follow your vision. So if you can't even imagine your success, if you can't imagine your success, you cannot have the success. So start imagining it. Dare to imagine, to daydream, to fantasize.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of manifesting, saying things. I will say this: I've been off all week. I just finished this big job at Warner Brothers. Well, I shouldn't say it. I've been off in the way that I don't have to go to the studio, but I certainly had to do a lot of annoying phone calls and going through hoops and computer work. But that being said, every day I've gotten and went on a 4-mile walk. And on those walks, I was able to actually talk and do my business. And also, and by the way, talking on the phone brings me anxiety as well. I hate talking on the phone.
Oh yeah, I have phone fear.
I can't do it. I'd rather text you and say, yo, I'll meet you there in 5 minutes and we'll talk in person.
It's terrifying to have a phone call.
It's horrible. I can't believe I worked for a marketing company years ago. But the things, I had no business doing any telemarketing and calling people on the phone. And that led to definitely some therapy sessions.
Yeah.
But the thing is it has been so lovely and good for me, not only physically, the exercise, but spiritually and emotionally and mentally. I think everyone should get out. Well, like my brother Daniel Gay said, go hug a tree, go smell a tree. It's good for you. Get out every day if you can and walk 4 miles. Because let me tell you, it's about an hour. and it feels so damn good. I know Bob Ross does it in Athens, and I really would love to get out there and do one of those walks with him because he looks like he's taking a beautiful walk. That would be a slower walk because I think it's off on trails and stuff. But me, I just did doing like the Beltline, which is like old railroad tracks in Atlanta that they've turned into like an art zone. It's really cool. Like people, rollerblade and skateboard, and people hang their art on the walls and stuff. And it's really beautiful. The architecture of it's amazing. So it's lovely to see. But it's just been, look at me, I'm smiling. Look at me smiling talking about it. It's been just ginormous, tremendous, like for me, from my head and my heart,
Yeah, you have to go outside. I do that too. Like I go on hikes as often as I can. And when I'm out there, I even do like push-ups on the trees, because I love
Yeah,
to get the endorphins going and to build the muscle. I do a lot of like Pilates and that kind of stuff. And I feel so good. It's so good for stress relief. It's human. Just go back to whatever makes humans humans. People need to be having, what is it that you always say? Like, your heart and your crotch, like just, you have to cater to your body.
I love saying the word crotch. I love saying the word crotch, but it makes people feel uncomfortable. But really, what we do comes from our guts and our hearts and our crotches, and which leads me to think this is terrible. What a segue. Crotch, and then I say these people. But no, I've been wanting to give a shout out to Alana, who is a hero, and also MM. So I love crotches, and I want to say shout out to Alana and
I think that's beautiful. I'm sure that they will be.
No, they get it, but I'm such big fans of them as well. And throughout the show, that's what I love about this. It's just you and I, our brains are on fire right now, and we're just, I annoy some people that I work with. They're like, yo, you're doing 7 things at once right now. I'm like, that's the only way I could operate. But so we might just start screaming out things like crotch and then people's names, I love.
It's because you're embracing the entire human experience is what you're doing. You're not shying away from
like what
reality.
We said, this is the first of many. Hope to come, because clearly this is good for you and me right now.
Yeah, and the crowd is loving it too. The crowd is loving it.
I'm wearing my Wu-Tang Fire shirt. I feel awesome. I've been listening to hip hop and listening to. I love that. I referred to you as an octopus, and I was hanging out with my friend Amanda Blackman, who I recently met, and we had lunch the other day, and I gave her an I Choose Awesome hat, and she does choose awesome, and she's such a great person, and we become really good friends like this. And she was like, "Oh yeah, Renee the octopus," and I was like, "She's also the goat." And that led me to listen to the LL Cool J album, Goat. And then I saw an interview. I saw an interview with him because he pretty much came up with that acronym. And he goes, "Oh, I messed up there." He goes, "I should have bought that." He goes, "People use it all over the world."
I didn't know that was from LL. I didn't know that.
Meaning greatest of all time. And he just thought he was cool. And literally that is used in boardrooms in Switzerland.
Everywhere. Everyone uses it. Yeah.
I'm like, so if you have a good idea, guys, like my company is called TCB, Tom Cheshire Business. My band is called TCB, Tom Cheshire Band. The record I just put out, and put it under the TCB, Tom Cheshire brand. But I got no business. I can't own TCB because Elvis Presley's estate owns TCB.
Yeah, you can't do that. You don't want Priscilla calling you up. You don't want a phone call from Priscilla.
Yeah. My dad used to say, "Hey man, getting sued's got to be a good thing."
Yeah. If you're not getting sued like all the time, you're not really creating impact.
Exactly. If you want to be the GOAT, But you're the GOAT. So this is right now where I'm going to give you another hip hop term. I want to give you your flowers, Renee.
Thank you, Tom.
I met you. You were standing in a corner by the bus stop. You look so fine. I met you online, and you looked fine, and we started talking. No,
I look pretty fine.
I met you through my brother Lars Nagel. Yeah, I was doing these things that we tried. That's the other beautiful thing. We both performed on stages, but it's very good to go into these uncharted, uncomfortable shark waters. I was nervous wreck doing the show, and now look at us. We're just so comfortable. I'm not saying we're good. I'm good at it, but we just feel good.
No, you are good at it. No, you're very good at it. And I want to say something, like we talking about like feeling uncomfortable, and I'm reading. We don't put the comments on the show for this show, but what I will say is I'm seeing what people are saying, and I want to say this because I have a rant. Let me just go off.
Please do. Well, this is the other thing. This is the other thing. another very important thing in life is, I learned this as well, is admit when you mess, or admit when you mess, or
Admit when you mess up. And
so in the beginning, I was like, no comments. Well, now if anyone has any questions, bring them up and tell me, and let's just talk to them. We got another 5-10 minutes because I know you have another show.
Well, what I want to say is
we're moving so fast right now.
They're laughing about the crotch thing, and I want to say this. Here's what I have. I have a whole rant that I'm going on because Americans are getting into this thing where they're saying that they're traditional by being pearl clutchers and all that. Do you realize that traditional people didn't shy away from the reality of human bodies and sexuality? Like Testify.
Yeah.
The reason why we say testify is because in the Bible, like Abraham's time, you would hold on to like this. You would hold on to your father's testicle while you swore your oath. That's not considered.
Well,
where do you think you came from? Where do y'all think you came from?
You came from your dad's. You came from your dad's crotch, and he went.
Yes. Why is that a bad thing? Why would that be bad?
Then he started bumping parts with your mom's crotch. Yes.
Yeah, but that's beautiful. And my point is like if you believe in a creator, the creator chose that method. So why would you think it's ugly? Why would it be evil? The creator chose that for you.
Well, and that's again, it's this thing, and this is actually a really good segue because when you were talking about that young musician, Sheeran, and it's actually not just Europe; it's everywhere that's not America. Because I'm Spanish, I'm Chilean, and my mom, I've talked about this before, came off the boat from Chile when she was 4 years old, and I have beautiful cousins that I'm very close to, about 60 cousins in Chile, Santiago and Viña del Mar.
Awesome.
They live in the mountains. My cousin has a avocado and a lemon farm in the mountains. It's beautiful. I picked them off the trees. Gorgeous people. My point being is, it's everywhere but America, because my cousin Trixie, if she's watching, shout out, but I'm going to talk about her crotch. Let's talk about our cousin crotches. She's so amazing. So my cousin Trixie, who I should say, I guess she'd be like, how's that work? Because she's actually my mom's cousin. So I'm like really good friends with her daughters and her sons who are like 30 and 40 years old, But I remember going there, and her husband's a dentist. She sells real estate. They have this beautiful house. They go to work, they come in, they take an afternoon nap, they come back, they drink every day, and they eat dinner around 11 o'clock at night, okay? And this lady's 60 years old and smoking fags, like smoking cigarettes, drinking wine, and rides her bicycle to her real estate office. And I don't think she wears panties. I mean, like, this lady's in amazing shape. Like, she's like, I'm like, Mom, your cousin Trixie's beautiful. Her kids are beautiful. She was like, yeah. She goes, we're idiots. Look at them, like that. And she's the coolest, most loving person. And she doesn't worry about the things that I guess that we consume or we're worried about. You know what I mean? And it's just lovely.
It's like that it's like that in Ukraine too. In Ukraine, they don't do all of that body shame, Puritan shit. Like I wasn't raised to be ashamed of like my body. I don't know what that's like, and I feel bad for people who have been exposed to that. It's weird. Like why would reality be something to be ashamed of? Like I'm not
and it's one thing to be insecure. I mean, because I'm insecure about things, but also know that listen, everyone has it. Everyone's got those things, everyone's got those bodies, and also really good thing to point out is a sense of humor is awesome. It goes a long way. I mean, it really goes a long way. I mean, like, listen, we all could relate and laugh at things that, have happened. I mean, it's just like, I take so many things seriously, taking care of people, work, being a good friend, being a hard worker, the things that I write down for either poems or songs. But I also have no problem throwing in a joke and a jab that's self-deprecating about myself.
I love that. And I love that about you too. And I also love to look, we were talking about funerals earlier, and the first major funeral I went to was like my best friend died in a car crash. She was coming back from I think it was a Slits show when we were 17, and her driver just fell asleep at the wheel coming back out of New York City.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm there at her funeral, and I'm looking, she was Jewish, and we had this Jewish funeral, and it was the three of us, my other friend, whom I, still am in touch with. We're there and we're giggling because we're remembering all the fun things. And then like people are looking at us like, why are you giggling? And I'm like, no, like she was so funny. The one who had died was so funny. Yeah. She would giggle at funerals. She would always talk about it. it's just, and it's nerves. Some of it is nerves.
Without a doubt.
We are
Yeah.
still alive. So let's keep that positivity going. Let's keep her
Yeah.
humor, her sense of humor going.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so in love with the air and life in this conversation right now. And I feel high as a giraffe myself, and I know that you are, again, you're the goat and you're an octopus. I know you got so much to do, but I have to say, we got held up last week because of tech problems. We're sorry, everybody, but we mean to deliver the goods. And tonight, I think we did. I know Renee's going to hang up and has enough time to do maybe a shot of bourbon, bullet bourbon, or maybe do 10 push-ups, and then she's got to do another show.
I am going to do I do 13. I do sets of 13.
Yeah, I
13
can't, man. My left arm is still messed up from this bike accident I had a few weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
Which just shows me that the brain is fresh, but these bones are getting old,
Yeah.
I mean, I could barely lift this arm still, but I'll get there. But the 4-mile walk, I encourage everyone. Oh, and the other thing I was going to say is, it's a damn shame that I'm already stressed about this next job that I'm doing, because I'm like, man, I need to figure out a way for the rest of my life to do a 4-mile walk every day.
Yeah, it's very important, and the fresh air and the oxygen.
Yes, and like Daniel Gay says, smell the trees, write a poem, write a song, write a joke, do what Jerry said, write a joke about it. I'm high as hell on nothing but good vibes, because I'm drinking my clear Guinness water tonight, and I actually don't even have to get up at 4 a.m. tomorrow, and I'm still being a good boy. I'm high as hell, and I love you and that heart of yours. This is a crystal heart right here. And Burn It Down, when we first started, and we're still doing it. And what we're doing is like everything we do, Renee, you and I, and all of our friends on CCTV as well. Rory's going to be proud, my brother, that we went over, is we love when things change and grow naturally and organically. And we saw a need that once a month, at least, it might even be twice, because it's just so great. And I have so many, I could be around a campfire, like listening to like Bob Dylan and talk to you, probably without any chemicals or drugs. I could talk to you till the sunrise tomorrow. I know that for a fact. But so I'm going to say this is a grand slam, and I feel so good about this episode. And please, guys, say something or give us suggestions. Like my friend Rick Ammerman, there's some things we're going to talk about, like real anxiety, like social anxiety. Like when I met him, he was like, I'm sorry I wasn't too talkative, but you talk a lot, and you have this presence, and I knew of you before I met you. And it took a minute, and we started chatting. Next thing you know, we're chatting. He goes, yeah, some days I'm good. Some days my social anxiety, I need to do, I want to have Rick kind of give me some ideas or topics for you and I. So anyone else, we're asking you, I think this was a great first positive party / PMA session. And I'm gonna probably put on a movie and chill, and then watch what you're doing later, because I love everything the CCTV.
Yeah, we're coming. So Manny Zamora, that you were giving shout outs to earlier.
Love Manny. Yeah.
I'm going to be live with him in like 10 minutes or so, and we're going to talk about transgender. We're going to talk about gender, all kinds of stuff. So everybody make sure you come and comment.
Yeah, that's another thing that we will be definitely getting into with these positive parties, because especially, good to see. This is how it works. Great suggestion. Pride Month. We need to look after our trans friends. We need to look after everyone and make sure everyone is good and feels safe. I'm going to leave on that note, and also just tell you, bucket of fish, zigga, 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 you're a best. We didn't even get into some of the things I want to talk about. So we do it in a few weeks, we will, which is the impact of heavy metal and punk rock. And how people view things, and then how it really is. Because to me, it's about positivity and community, and being and kindness. I'm so happy. Cheers to everyone. I'm going to talk backstage with my sister for about 60 seconds.
60 seconds.
Yo, love you guys. Listen, love, peace, and hair grease. Choose awesome.